Hello, everybody. So Liza's here, and I'm super glad to welcome you to today's session. I'm excited that it didn't take long after the previous one. And by the way, if you didn't see the previous live session, I strongly recommend you to do that because last week we discussed teaching in China, and I know that many people are interested in going abroad to teach and to discover new cultures. So if you want to know a little bit more about it, just feel free to check out the previous live. And today we're actually going to talk about a slightly different approach to teaching, which is online teaching. It is also super valuable, and today's session will take approximately 45 minutes. So we'll cover, first, we'll cover some of the teaching modes in online teaching, because there are actually a couple of them. Then we will consider various online teaching resources, like where you can apply to start your teaching career. And finally, we will move on to the Q&A session. Okay. And right now, let me just enlarge the screen. And before that, by the way, before I move on to the first slide, please let me know where are you guys from. I'm staying in Russia, in a beautiful city of Yekaterinburg. It's right in the middle of Russia, actually, quite close to Siberia. And it's finally getting really warm. So I feel happy every day because our winters are just really gloomy, and it's hard to stay cheerful. So this period is actually getting really awesome. So where are you guys from? Let me know in the comment section, because I can actually see everything you type in. And yeah, this way I'll know that somebody is there. I'm not alone here, and we will have a lively chat. Okay. All right, so there is a person from Scotland. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, and I don't want to make a mistake. So nice to hear from Scotland. I actually have been to Scotland as a teenager many years ago, and that country is just beautiful. I really love that part of the Great Britain. Yeah. All right. So here is Gwendolyn from Malaysia. He's actually an old comer. Yeah. Thanks a lot for coming again and again. I really appreciate your efforts, and I really appreciate your interest in this live sessions, because I really want to be helpful and give you as much value as it is possible. So I believe there are many people from different corners of the world. So yeah, let's just move on to the main part of today's session. Okay. All right. Some people from Peru as well. Oh, not from Peru, from Delhi, India. That's glad to know. And I can see Yusuf from Algeria. That's cool as well. Nice to see familiar faces every time. And yeah, just let me quickly switch to this banner, because I want everybody to know the name of the session, because I'm just gonna skip to another slide and it won't be seen. But just as a reminder, every time we give this 30% discount, and it's a great opportunity to start your TEFL course actually if you are really interested in investing in your TEFL career. So this incentive might be really helpful to you. So don't forget about this opportunity. And now let's see what's going on in the online teaching sphere. So as some of you probably know, online teaching is in great demand these days. And as I see this job market, there are two various ways to teach online. So the first one, you can see it on the left, yeah, like this on the left. There are some online teaching companies you might work for. At the same time, there are some marketplaces, actually a lot of them. So it's just really simple to dive into teaching and start as soon as possible, as soon as you finish your TEFL course or maybe bachelor's. So it is really convenient at the same time, because you don't need to go anywhere. You can just set up your home classroom and stay safe and sound. Yeah, like that. And if we go to some examples of online teaching companies versus online teaching platforms, like marketplaces, you would see that there are VIP Kids, Magic Years, Q Kids, and these companies are like mastodons of online teaching business, because they are well known and reliable. They have been present in this business for a long time, but they have some challenges. I should put it like this. And if we talk about online teaching marketplaces, there are also some really famous platforms, for example, italki and Cambly. But again, they have some problems. It's not just as easy as it might seem to start working for these companies. And let me just dwell upon that and explain what's the problem. Okay, sorry, so previous slide. So if you, for example, a non-native English teacher, it would be difficult to get into an online teaching company like VIP Kids, because they still prefer to hire native speakers. However, for example, Magic Years, they have simpler requirements. They write something like, we hire fluent speakers, fluent English speakers, and native speakers, or non-native English speakers who are like at the C2 level. But still, it is again a little bit challenging, because they have this threshold, and they have this requirement you are supposed to face, you are supposed to meet. If we talk about italki and Cambly, for example, these platforms are more flexible, so they actually don't hire, they just provide you with a marketplace, with a placement, and you can just advertise your services there. However, if we take italki as an example, unfortunately, they have a few openings around the year for the English language. However, you can actually consider teaching some other languages. For example, if you are proficient in French, or I don't know, maybe some more sophisticated languages which are not taught by any people, then it can be a really good place to start. However, for English teaching, it's a bit complicated. You have to constantly check their website, and right after they open positions for English teachers, apply for it. Unfortunately, I couldn't do that anytime because they still have not just a few opportunities for both native speakers and non-native speakers. Okay. And yeah, as for Cambly, for example, they have actually a different approach, and they offer this marketplace for various English teachers, and they even prefer people who are skilled and experienced in some other fields. For example, if you are so for example, if you are a marketing manager or an entrepreneur, you can actually try to apply for Cambly and start working for them because they offer a little bit different type of lessons, like lessons for business people and what else, like professionals from different fields. So for Cambly, you would probably think of a special strategy to advertise yourself. But again, they have openings like around the year, and it's not that difficult to get into it. But those were the most famous online platforms and online teaching companies. Here on this slide, you can see some less famous ones, less popular ones. And yeah, I believe they are really interesting, especially for those who start the career. If you look at the online teaching companies, so you can see Top Online Teachers, Zebra English, and Lingua TV. And you can also see that I stated the level of students they work for. So as for Top Online Teachers and Zebra English, they are focused on young learners. So if you are specialized in teaching young learners, these two websites would probably be the most interesting for you. And as for Lingua TV, I believe it's a website from Germany. So they provide various types of English lessons from adult students to business English and exams. And it's actually a great platform to provide your services, especially if you're focused on exam preparation, I believe. And as for some online teaching marketplaces, you can see Preply, Lingoda, and Cafe Talk. And I would draw your attention to the last one particularly. Cafe Talk is an interesting platform, quite flexible one, from Korea or no, from Japan, I believe. But it actually covers these Asian countries like Japan, South Korea, and South Asian countries. So if you want to work with those students, from those countries, it's a great place to start because you can actually set your own price. And by the way, when I found this platform for the first time, I referred it to my colleague Linda, and you can actually see her comments in the comment section right now. She started teaching there, and she says it's just really awesome. So if you want to try online teaching, Cafe Talk might be the first place to refer to, especially if you consider like going to Asia, well, probably in some coming years in your near future. I think this is the greatest way to get to know students from Asian countries, their needs, and maybe some challenges they face. I think it's extremely important for teachers who think of going to teach in a real classroom. Okay? And as for the next point, so I found the requirements for all of these platforms I mentioned. I didn't add the requirements for italki or Cambly because they still don't have those openings. And yeah, and you can actually see that as for Zebra teaching, well, you have to be fluent in English or know English at an idiomatic level, which means it's important to be like C2 level or maybe C1, but still show that your English skills are at the highest level. At the same time, they require you to have a bachelor's degree or above. So if you think of teaching for this company, you are supposed to have a university degree. Oh, sorry. Okay. They also have a really specific requirement, like you must be allowed to work in the US or Canada. So this option might be more or less interesting for teachers who hold those countries' passports. And of course, TEFL and TESOL are extremely important if you want to work for this provider. However, if you look at the last one mentioned, top online teachers, they have less requirements. So it's just varies. And if you want to work for a specific company, you can always go to their website and check the requirements they list for English teachers. But still, it's always quite flexible, and sometimes even if they state that they hire native speakers only, or for example, bachelor's degree holders, I think you still can try to contact them and well, try to ask if you could work it out, if you could be more or less flexible. Okay, and let's see the requirements for marketplaces. So here are not that many of them. So for teaching on Preply, you should be at least fluent in English, and TEFL or TESOL would be an asset. So you can just simply consider Preply if you want to find direct students and just work with them without any companies, especially if you are able to create your own lesson plans and materials. So this service is just extremely convenient. Lingoda would ask you to prove your C2 level, but still, I also believe that it's flexible as well. And as for Cafe Talk, there are no specific requirements, but there is a huge competition. So you might probably want to show that you are professional and you have credentials. Okay. And yeah, let's see the next point. Yeah, speaking of rates, it's actually quite normal that companies set some specific fees. Um, they set some specific rates for English teachers, and I would say that the numbers which you see here are quite common to Zebra English, VAT Kids, so it's like a gold standard. But the other platforms would provide you with some with some alternatives. So, for example, on Lingua TV, you would probably get your results, like you will get your rate after the interview. So again, it's quite valuable if you are a professional and you can prove that you're worth it. Okay, and let's see the numbers for online marketplaces. There are actually none of them, but before setting your price, setting your rate, you should like make a research and see how much other teachers charge there. But I would say it's almost the same as for example, the VAT Kid or Zebra English. So usually teachers set the price at like 16, 18 US dollars or something. But I want you to know that all platforms take their cuts, though they have these service fees, and sometimes they are pretty high. So one of my friends who's been teaching on Preply says that at the very beginning, the fees, those service fees on Preply are like about 40% or something, but they decrease as long as you stay with the company and as long as you get more students. Of course, if you find a student on a marketplace, there is an option to ask them to work directly. But again, teaching platform, this online platform, also guarantees you with some safety, and working through them, you will definitely know that you will get paid. Otherwise, sometimes there might be like situation when students don't pay you, and you're like, what's wrong? Okay. So that is all for the main part, and I'm gonna look at the comment section right now because I can see there are some questions. And if you guys still have any questions or concerns on online teaching, please feel free to ask me in the comments right now. I'll try to be helpful and address every response. Okay. So the first question is, does it require a degree and teaching experience? So as I have already mentioned, some companies have those 2 points as their requirements. So it is always important to check a particular company and see if you meet their standards, their requirements. Yeah, but for example, in case of Cafe Talk, there are no requirements, right? Okay. So here is a question on teaching online versus teaching in a real classroom. I believe that online teaching will be in demand many years after the COVID. I think that it's just an alternative mode, and students get even more interested in taking online classes, because this way they can be really flexible. For example, I have a student from Moscow, and I stay in Yekaterinburg. So we have this huge distance, but we still can get in touch and practice. What else? So distance might be one of the reasons. At the same time, online teaching provides students with some rate options. Sometimes it's pricey to go to a real classroom compared to taking classes online, especially private ones. Well, let's see. If you, for example, want to try teaching on, like if you are not sure that it's your cup of tea, you can definitely start teaching online and then see if it's something you really want to do as like for living, yeah, as a career. So I still believe that online teaching worth it, but for example, when I had that interview with my friend who's teaching in China, he mentioned that he doesn't like online teaching. He had to teach online during the quarantine time in China, and it was really challenging, especially because of the student's age. Like he had to deliver online lessons to children as young as 3 years. Just it's really complicated, right? So for online teaching, you'd probably look at students who are older or have like longer attention span. That's it. If you talk about a real classroom, the situation is quite similar. However, for example, teaching in China is different from this perspective, because your lessons are usually assisted by someone, and teachers help you to organize kids, even if you can't speak Chinese. But it really depends. Okay, what's next? Okay, so as for recruitment agencies in specific countries, I'd recommend you going to our TEFL course.net website. There we have a section devoted to jobs, and we keep it updated and post jobs country-wise. Like you can choose the country you're interested to work in and check if there are any openings. Okay, let me just quickly copy and paste the link to our job section so that you could check it out right now. So follow this link on the chat box I have just sent to you, and you will be able to see if there are any options for Cambodia. Okay. And by the way, thank you for the questions. There are not many questions from YouTube usually, so I'm really impressed that this platform works. Okay. All right. So if you apply for jobs on some specific services, for example, like the VIP Kid one, they take some time to review all the applications they receive, and then they respond. I actually tried to apply for VIP kit some time ago, and I received their rejection like after a couple of months. So I believe it's something normal happening in this business world. But still, if you are interested, in the job offer, you'd probably want to send it once again, but make sure you apply not only with your CV or resume, include your cover letter as well, because this is the way recruiters consider the application reliable. Okay. What's the biggest challenge in online teaching? I'd say that it's quite challenging to work with groups online. So this is something I have just started trying. I'm not that experienced in teaching groups, even in a real classroom, but in online, in this online teaching mode, it's extremely different. So working with groups for me, but still it depends on you as a teacher. Maybe you are like skilled in teaching large groups, and it will be just a piece of cake for you. The next challenge is that sometimes equipment doesn't work the way you want it to work. So you have to think of it ahead. Make sure that your internet connection is stable, that all the applications you're going to use will work when you start using them, and yeah, stuff like that. Apart from these 2 points, I don't see any other issues. Maybe one of the minor challenges would be that sometimes if you want to work with students from other countries, it might be challenging to charge them for your work if you don't work through online teaching platforms, if you work with them directly. But there are still ways to overcome this challenge. Okay. So this is a great question. Thanks for that. How to be a professional teacher online? Practice it. Practice, and also invest into your education. I know that a lot of people believe that being fluent in English or just knowing English at the advanced level or something is enough, but it's not true. You have to be proficient in your teaching approach, in your I don't know, relationship building, methodologies and stuff like that. So it's just vital to invest some money into your teaching qualifications. So as I have mentioned many times already, it's a great choice to start with TEFL. That was something I did many years ago. So I was just a graduate. I graduated my university, and then I just realized that I was trained in translating from English to Russian or from Russian to English, but translating was not that career I wanted to keep up. So I decided that teaching would suit me best. However, I didn't know how to teach because I wasn't trained to do that. So I started my research and came up with taking this TEFL course, and it was really helpful because I just could start my teaching to various groups of students, both both privately and yeah, in a classroom. So yeah, as for me, it is really important to invest in your teaching qualification. And then if you're a non-native speaker, it's also important to increase the level of your English. And as for me, it is one of the most challenging things because English as a language is not stable, and you have to keep updated constantly. And yeah, it's just super challenging, even if you're at the highest level as an English learner. Okay, so if you are TEFL and TESOL certified and you have this master's degree and experience, the next step would be create a perfect resume, write down a cover letter, and start sending your applications to different companies. So as I mentioned, you can either start teaching for a company or find a place on an online teaching platform. But this is almost the same. So you have to pack yourself, like you have to create your profile to show everybody online who you are and like what are you professional in, and then just start constantly looking for students. At the same time, do not underestimate the power of social networks. It's a great idea to write something like, hey, I'm teaching I teach English and I have this experience. So if you want to have lessons, just direct message me and post it on YouTube, or not probably on YouTube, but maybe on Facebook or Instagram. This is the way it also works. And word of mouth works as well. This is the way I found one of my students. I just mentioned to her mother that I am an English teacher when we worked out in the gym together. And she was like, oh my God, I need a teacher for my daughter. And that was the way I started teaching her online. It's a great way to find clients as well. Okay. That's not true, actually. As far as I know, South Africans are considered to be native speakers on the first place. And it's much easier for native English speakers to find jobs, especially if you are professional in teaching, if you have all those qualifications. It shouldn't be an obstacle. So I still think that in online teaching, there are no boundaries for people from various countries, from different countries. And even if you are a non-native speaker, you still have this opportunity to teach online. It just 100% depends on you. Be proactive and work as much as it is possible and go towards this goal, okay? All right, this question is awesome. So yes, some platforms provide teachers with lesson plans and materials. However, if you take, for example, Cafe Talk, they don't have, I believe they don't have any materials. It's on you. Like you have to get prepared and yeah, provide students with the materials yourself. But for example, on Preply, they have special courses designed, so you, as a private tutor, as a private teacher, you can choose one of their courses and just follow it. Or there is also an option to create your own materials and work with everything you want to use. So it's actually up to you as well. Okay, how do you bring learners to order in case a learner is abstracted without an assistant? That's a really funny question, because I no longer teach in a real classroom. I teach English online and privately, mostly. I have already got my first group, but the students in that group are adults, so I don't have this challenge. However, when I taught in China, and when I worked with those young learners, and there were like 30 of them, it was just impossible. So they on the first place, they don't speak the same language as you do, so they completely ignore your direction. But what is important is to build some connections at the very beginning. It is especially helpful with like classrooms from 15 to 30 students. If you get your friends around them, among them, it will be easier to manage them. That was the only thing helped me when I taught them in that real classroom. But apart from that, that was really, really frustrating, especially when they got annoying, and when they got naughty. It was really, really difficult. Especially, even it also was because it also happened because I was quite young. I was just like 22 or something, 21, and I didn't know how to communicate with children. So I had some favorite students who listened to me, who paid attention, but I couldn't make it up with the majority of them. So I believe personal experience is also important. So if you have a chance to communicate with different children, it is really important to get to know them, to build this trust and relationship. And this is probably the only way to order them and to be seen as a person, because otherwise they just ignore you. Okay, it's even something sad to remember, because I failed at that time. Okay, the best games for online teaching. Guys, I believe this question could be addressed in a different live stream, because there are many ways to play with children online and in class as well. I would only mention that there are some tools. The first one is called WordWall. It's a tool to design online games, and they actually have a library, that is filled by work that other teachers create. So you can definitely use WordWall. And another app is called Learning App. Yeah, I think so. So these two tools I've been using to create games and interact with children and with adults as well. And sometimes I also design just games from scratch, and I use Miro. You can actually see some of my previous online sessions because I covered the point of game design probably a couple of weeks ago. So check those out. There are some videos related to game design for online teaching. Okay. So as for online teaching equipment and tools, I use just 2 of them at the regular basis. Some other tools are used every now and then. But as for my lessons delivery, I work via Zoom. There is an alternative, which is Skype, like good old Skype. It's completely up to you. And the other tool I've been using is Miro. It's an online collaborative whiteboard. It's super convenient if you want your students, if you want your online students to get involved in your lesson. Because this is the way you share all the materials. This is the way you can engage them into some activities like writing or painting something. So it's super convenient. I really love it. And I also had a live stream devoted to Miro. So check that one out as well. So is the ESA method practical? Of course it is. So basically, every time I create my lesson from scratch, I consider some engagement at the beginning, then the study phase and activities as the last point. This is not the only framework. This is not the only approach to organize your lessons. So you can actually choose any other method which you like. But yeah, generally speaking, engage, study, activate is the best approach, especially for online teaching, because it's super easy and it helps you to structure your lesson and make sure students follow every step and you understand their maybe challenges and any problems they might have. Okay, so from my personal point of view, the ESA method is really effective. But there are so many teachers who prefer to use some other approaches. For example, there are still people who implement grammar translation approach, grammar translation method. Sometimes I also use it, but as a part of my ESA strategy. Okay. All right, guys. So I can see that there are no other questions. So let me just move on to the next slide. So this is what I wanted to mention earlier, but I just guess that it was not the right time. So this is my friendly invitation to the Facebook group I created for English teachers and those who are interested in English learning, because we all are non-native speakers. Maybe there are some native speakers on my sessions, but usually there are non-native ones. So just feel free to keep in touch with me if you are interested in this TEFL topic and English learning. You can scan this QR code, or you can also follow this link I'm gonna send you. All right, so this is the group to keep in touch and be on the same page. So if you want to communicate with me in this real-time mode, please feel free to contact me. Feel free to add me. I'll be glad to talk to you, and maybe if you have any questions related to TEFL or English learning as well, so we can talk on Facebook, we can chat with you. So I feel like there are no further questions, but still, if you have any concerns, or maybe you want to give me your feedback, feel free to write everything down on the comment box right now. I'm gonna stay with you for a couple of more minutes. And yeah, I really appreciate you guys coming to my sessions. Thanks a lot. I hope that you find them helpful and that the information I try to share with you is useful and valuable. So yeah, thank you so much, Philip. Thank you so much. I'm usually really nervous, especially when I have to share my personal experience and some tips. Mostly because of my speaking skills, I still have to practice a lot of speaking, and yeah, this is something really challenging for me to communicate with such a great audience. But I can see that there are so many people who can relate to it and who support it and who might give me like kind response. All right, thank you guys. Thanks for joining my group. Yeah, for those who still want to join, please feel free to send the QR code or follow the link I just sent to the chat box. All right, so I think this is the time to wrap up, to finish the session. It was quite productive, and I really, really appreciate that you guys come and you spend some time with me. Hope to see you soon again. So just let me remind you that my sessions take place every Tuesday. Last week was a little bit different because I had to interview my friend from who is teaching in China, and he didn't have any other time. But still, check that live stream out because it's really valuable if you want to teach abroad, if you want to go to China. So make sure you watch that recording. It's really valuable. All right, guys, so that is all for today. Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining. And see you next week. Bye-bye.